Live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Chris Featherstone. We are here for another episode of the Legion of Raw show. Okay, so look, I love this show. It's fun. So, here's the thing, man. I was doing it with my guy, Joy Laurinaitis, Road Warrior Animal. It was a fun ride. And, man, it was, we end up being good friends, end up building a really strong relationship, a strong friendship, man. And, of course, I've had my show of just thinking about them and just remembering them and having my thoughts and memories of them. Although small, it was very, very large in stature as far as my memories. And so, look, I've been searching high and low of who could feel the shoes of Road Warrior Animal, ladies and gentlemen. And this person here not only feels the shoes of Road Warrior Animal, he draws the ratings that Road Warrior Animal does. Without further ado, you know what? I've had him on my show a bunch of times, and I call him the original bro. He doesn't agree with it, but the person he calls the original bro, I've had on my show a bunch of times too. I think the bro meter is still won by this guy. So without further ado, my man, Vince Russo. How are you tonight, sir?
Dr. Chris, I am happy to be here. I am happy that the both of us can continue on the tradition of the great Joe Laurinaitis, the animal. I had the pleasure of working with Joe at WWE and TNA, two companies, and getting to know him. And I was really touched because it's funny when you first asked me to do the show and, you said the name of the show was the Legion of Doom. I wrote back to you and I said, well, bro, if Joe's not doing it anymore, do you want to change the name of the show? Mm-hmm. And you came back to me and said, you know what? We want to keep it that name to honor Joe. And we told his wife we were going to keep it. And I said, you know what, man, that's a great thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is an absolutely great thing. Listen, I know I can't fill his shoes. You're talking about a man that was a legend in the business. I mean, arguably one of the greatest tag teams of all time. And it pains me to say that because they're both not with us now. I mean, both of them. And it's like, oh, my God, yeah. Arguably the greatest. And here's what I want to say about these guys, both Hawk and Animal. Bro, I had the privilege of working with practically everybody in the business. Okay. And, bro, I got to tell you, the people I respected the most were people that, without a shadow of a doubt, they earn the right to have a chip on their shoulder. Mm-hmm. Okay, they earn that right because they were legends and they paved the way for so many people in the business. And they really earn the right to have a chip on the shoulder. And then when I work with guys like Animal and Hawk, bro, zero ego. Zero. I'm telling you, zero ego. It was never, bro, we're the Road War, never. I mean, from the day one I started working with those guys, bro, they respected what I did. And I mean, that's unbelievable to me because, I came into the business watching these guys. I'm in absolute awe. And then, bro, when you're working with them and they're so professional and, now you are, your peers. Mm-hmm. And I always admired and respected the guys that should have had an ego, mm-hmm. and they earned the right, but they had zero. Mm-hmm. And Joe was one of those guys, bro.
Wow. Yeah, that says a lot, man. I grew up watching him, so to call him a friend before he passed was just surreal to me. Like I grew up in in the 80s, watching him and Hawk, man, as a fan. I've been a fan and for all of my life until a few months ago where I became his friend, and just sharing the show with him. So man, you ready to pass the baton and join this ride and have some fun with it?
I'm ready, and I hope I serve him justice. But before we do that, Dr. Chris, I'm going to assume your doctorate is in psychiatry.
Psychology, almost.
No, say psychiatry. I need you to be a psychiatrist tonight.
Okay, for tonight.
I'm laying on your couch, bro. This is the first show.
Okay.
And bro, I got to shoot straight with you.
Let's do it.
Okay. Let me tell you how I usually watch Raw. Okay. Bro, I used to watch all 3 hours. And I just got to the point like, bro, I just cannot do this anymore. I cannot do it. So what my habit was usually, Chris, was I'd watch the first hour of Raw live on Twitch. So I've got an audience and we're talking about the show. Bro, after the first hour, I would go back, like at 11 o'clock at night, and I would watch the last 2 hours of Raw and get through it as quickly as I could. I'm being honest with you now. Now, I'm going to tell you this because I want to come clean with you.
Yes.
I watched 3 hours tonight.
Okay. Nice.
Bro, there is no way I can watch that show for 3 hours and come here with you and give you a ball of energy. So I have to figure out, I've got to figure out now what is going to be the best way. What I'm thinking of doing, bro, is honestly like literally here for me, I live in Colorado. The show starts at 6. So what I'm thinking of doing, bro, is starting the show at about 7:30. And I figure if I fast forward through the matches and stuff, by the time it's 9 o'clock, I'll be done with the show.
Yeah.
Because I cannot, bro, I can't do this show with you if I'm going to be forced to watch this show for 3 hours because I will be brain dead. I will be brain dead, bro.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and that's fine. As a doctor in psychology, I'm a psychotherapist, so that's on the house tonight. So I'm gonna be honest with you too. I'm right here. I'm looking like this as I'm watching the show.
Bro, listen, Chris, let me top that because there was a point in the show where I picked up my ukulele.
Oh, nice.
And I started singing Tiptoe Through the Tulips. Did you reach that point tonight, Chris?
I did not reach that point.
Okay, no. Well, that's the point. I was singing Tiptoe Through the Tulip. I think it was during the 47-minute New Day Hurt Club match, I think. I think it was during that time.
All right, so let's go segment by segment. This will be indeed. I'm glad you shared the same sentiments when it comes to the difficulty of watching Raw. For the most part, I agree with you so much. So we definitely will have a lot of fun since we both agree on that.
Now, how was Joe? Tell me how. I mean, was Joe brutal? How was Joe's demeanor on this show?
He was pretty calm. He was pretty calm. He was a shooter. I mean, he kept it PG, but he was a shooter.
Okay.
He was honest about about how he felt, and it's a lot of times he would kind of wait for my cue to say it sucked. He'd be like, "Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I agree."
I'm not going to wait for you, but I do want to say this, Chris. I got to say one thing up top.
Yes.
I want to tell you one thing up top because you and I need to have an understanding of each other and you really need to know something. Okay. Bro, it drives me absolutely bonkers when I critique Raw and I criticize Raw and I get the old, oh, you're bitter because you're not working there. Okay. Chris, I got to tell you this. And I'm being perfectly honest. You know, bro, I have something called russosbrand.com.
Mm-hmm.
I work with many people in the wrestling business, and bro, I podcast all week long, every day. I've been doing that for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Successfully. Successfully. I have ultimate freedom.
Mm-hmm.
There are no money issues. I pay my bills. I pay everybody on the staff. We're doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, when I tell you from the bottom of my heart, if Vince McMahon called me tomorrow and offered me $1 million to go back to that life, I would say thank you, but no thank you. I love what I'm doing now. I love the freedom. I'm going to be 60 in a couple of months. I could not exist in that environment.
Yeah.
When I'm burying the show, I'm burying it because I think it sucks.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to clarify this because I want to tell you off the bat, bro, I'm enjoying Roman Reigns and especially Jey Uso.
Yes.
Like, holy crap, bro. I'm this Jey Uso, and I'm really, really enjoying that. So my point is, when I enjoy something, I'm going to tell you I enjoy it.
Yes.
But I'm not gonna put something over if it doesn't warrant my putting it over. So I want you to understand that, bro. When it's good, I will say it's good. But when I think it's terrible, bro, I'm gonna tell you I think it was terrible.
And I'm going to do the same thing. I agree 100%. Yeah. I agree. I share your same sentiments because Raw is I'll say this every week. Raw is a pain to watch, typically for me. I have to watch the whole 3 hours together, and it's difficult. It very much is difficult, especially as a psychotherapist by day, journalist and podcaster by night. It gets really difficult to watch 3 hours of Raw. But I agree with you. SmackDown is actually much more compelling, and I like how they kind of interweave the storyline of Jey and Roman. I think Jey and Roman storyline is the best thing going in pro wrestling, period, right now.
I agree.
I would say a second close. I like the Jericho MJF stuff going on in AEW, but I would say just the storyline, the compelling, the realness to it, the tradition, the tribal chief, the Heyman involvement, just all the pieces of that is working so well, and I'm actually buying into. I got to have buy-in, Vince. If I don't have buy-in, I'm not connected. Simple as that.
Yep. And bro, I loved what they did at the end of the show.
Yeah,
I loved it, bro. And bro, I'm looking for things to put over. Like, I really am looking for stuff to put over, and I've been enjoying that. I think Jey Uso is the MVP. And I love that little swerve that they did at the end of SmackDown.
Yeah, it adds more to the longevity of the storyline, which is very interesting. All right, so let's get into Raw. We start with Randy Orton with the in-ring promo. He gets interrupted by Alexa Bliss. The Fiend's music plays and then distracts Orton, turns around to a Claymore. So there's a big convoluted mess within the WWE Championship storyline right now. You have Orton who wins. You got Drew who wants his rematch. You got the Fiend. Is he a face? Is he a heel? Is he a tweener? Alexa Bliss turns on the dark side, but where is that going? Then you got the Miz who has the Money in the Bank contract. And you have Morrison who's just kind of with them. There's just a big convoluted mess going on with the WWE Championship. Vince, your thoughts on the opening segment?
Well, I will put this over, bro, and it's about the only thing I'm going to put over. Bro, and again, you got to understand, Chris, everything I'm coming, from where I'm coming, it's from a writing perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the fact that they picked up where they left off last week. They don't do that every week.
True.
Okay. And, we always did that. The difference was we left you with a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
And then we picked it up right where we left. So I like the fact that they picked it up where they left us off. Chris, here's the problem. And nobody ever addresses this. I don't know where you stand with these dirt sheet guys that are rating fake matches with 5 stars. They never talk about the things we really need to talk about. Chris, here's the problem that I don't understand. The brand split started when the WWE was really, really hot. Mm-hmm. Okay, bro, like right after like Russo Ferrara, when they were on fire. Okay, bro, one of the reasons the brand split started was because the company was so hot, they wanted to run 2 tours. Mm-hmm. They wanted a SmackDown crew and a Raw crew, and they wanted to make as much money as possible. That made all the sense in the world. Mm-hmm. Okay. But bro, over the last 20 years, their ratings have gone down. They stopped drawing house show numbers. They weren't a hot commodity. Bro, now they're not touring at all. Mm-hmm. And rumor has it that once the pandemic is over, they may have a big show here and there, but they're not going to be touring like they used to tour. Mm-hmm. Well, bro, with that being said, why is there still a brand split? And the reason why I'm saying that, bro, is, I'm a huge fan of Drew McIntyre. Mm-hmm. But, bro, you've run this into the ground. Yeah. You've run Orton and McIntyre into the ground because by doing the split, you've got a limited roster and you're trying to get as much out of Orton and McIntyre as possible. And bro, if you don't have compelling TV, mm-hmm. and all they're doing is, Claymore, RKO, Claymore, RKO, yep. Bro, it just gets old. So like my question is, why are you doing the brand split? Why isn't everybody on every show?
Personally, I don't have enough confidence in the writing to be okay with a brand unification, just because for me, it's like, okay, if there's a brand split, maybe someone have a shot. Maybe. I don't think that there's even a lack of people on Raw. I think there's just a lack of creativity because you have someone like a Bobby Lashley who could be world title contender. They're not even doing him correctly. Yes, he's in a mid card, but why not the Hurt Business be world champ, U.S. champ, and tag team champs? I mean, if you're going to heal them up, if you're going to put them over, I would have the whole crew be champs. Yeah. But at the same time, I agree with you. You're continuing to say, I'm old school, man. I know you are too when it comes to just a lot of the creativity and stuff like that. I'm just one of those people that I lose interest when there's a lot of physicality between the rivalry before the big match. Yeah, I don't think that that's necessary. And I'm old school. I don't want to see that. Right. I want to see the build. I don't want to see just Claymore RKO every week because it makes me lose interest of the big match. What are you building to if I'm seeing every week what the payoff is?
Absolutely.
And I see that every week.
So absolutely. Yeah. And not only that, but here's what they're telling you in the first segment. And again, if you're old school and you watch wrestling, bro, we know the deal. We know how this works, especially with the WWE. So here's what they're setting up. Orton just beat Drew for the belt. So now we've got to build Drew back up. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go to a main event with Drew against Miz and Morrison, who are literally nothing now. Mm-hmm. Nothing is going to be on the line. The money nothing's on the line. And Drew's going to go over, so we can now rebuild Drew because he lost to Orton. So you know the finish of this show 10 minutes in. Yeah. So again, bro, if I'm watching this show 10 minutes in, bro, the first segment should lay out the entire show. Mm-hmm. So if I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, bro, so they're going to McIntyre against these two guys. McIntyre's going to go over. The match doesn't mean anything. Nothing's on the line. You know what, bro? I might go watch the Giants versus Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
There's no hook, bro. You're not hooking me with anything. There's no hook.
Yep, I agree. Next, we have Miz and Morrison coming out to cash in the briefcase. Gets destroyed by McIntyre before the cash-in official. Do you think the Miz will actually cash in, or do you think that there's going to be some type of another briefcase match between like a Drew and Miz, and Drew wins or something? Where does Miz fall into all this with the briefcase?
I want to know where Otis fell out. Like what did it's funny, bro, when I see like guys busting their backsides, earning the spot, doing everything they're supposed to be doing, and then the next thing you know, they're taken down a rung. I've never understood. The perfect example to me, bro, is always Jinder Mahal. I want somebody to tell me what Jinder Mahal did wrong as a champion. What did that guy do wrong as a champion? What did Otis do wrong? I don't know what Otis did wrong for them to take the Money in the Bank. What did Drew do wrong to lose to Randy Orton? So I want to know like what these guys did wrong, because it's behind the scenes stuff. It's something on a personal level. I think they'll see this thing through with Miz, because I think they feel they need to elevate Miz. But bro, how are you going to elevate Miz and Morrison when you're having these guys act like the Two Stooges?
Yes indeed. I can't take them seriously, that's for sure.
Yeah. Right.
Next, we have a Jeff Hardy versus Elias guitar to pole match. So, did you have anything to do with that, Vince?
Well, can I say, Chris, let me explain something. Bro, I ask people all the time, name all the pole matches Vince Russo did. Bro, they name like the same three every time. I say, okay, bro, you just named 3 pole matches. Bro, I wrote a weekly wrestling show from 1997 to about 2007. So I wrote a weekly wrestling. No, what am I saying, bro? 2012. Bro, 15 years. Okay. Bro, do you know how many matches I wrote in those 15 years? How many shows I wrote over that time? How many pay-per-view? Okay, bro, you're listing 3 pole matches out of 10,000 matches. But again, bro, that's the dirt sheet agenda, which whatever. But here's what you said earlier, bro. Talking about old school. First of all, Elias has the potential to be a huge star. Okay, they've already shown us they don't want to turn Elias babyface, so they're working against the grain. The people want to cheer Elias. It's the Reigns thing. It's the Reigns thing, bro. They wanted Reigns to turn heel. They kept him babyface. They want Elias to turn babyface. They're keeping him heel. Okay, but bro, the problem is he's supposed to be a heel, and you're beating this guy with his own gimmick.
Yeah.
And bro, what has he been back for 3 weeks?
Yeah.
That's how you get heat on a heel, bro, by beating him with his own gimmick?
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. It really seems that Vince really doesn't know what to do with Elias. I mean, I agree. He has such a baby face. I know, he's funny as a heel when there's a crowd, but he has that rock star charisma that has that potential to be a big star. Just him as a heel, the times when he's a heel, he just kind of reaches a ceiling to me. It just doesn't go too far up.
Well, Chris, what did WWE? I mean, one of the things they really lack, and again, it all starts from the top, and Vince McMahon, bro. One of the things they really lack is the cool factor.
Yeah.
This guy could be the coolest guy on the roster as a babyface.
Yeah.
But the fact that, no, we're going to keep him heel. Okay, fine, bro. You're going to keep him a heel. But you're going to beat the guy with his own gimmick in 3 weeks? I mean, bro, you remember, you go back. I mean, bro, was Honky Tonk ever hit with his own guitar 3 weeks in?
Right. Meanwhile, he was the longest reigning Intercontinental champ of all time.
I mean, I wrote a lot for, Jeff Jarrett. God, all I could recall is how many people Jarrett took out with the guitar. I can't remember Jeff getting hit with his own guitar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a real good point. Next, we get Baszler and Jax against Brooke and Rose, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. They beat them. So Lana's. So you would think the through the table streak ended at this time. At this point, because it went off to another segment after Baszler and Jax won. So you think that, okay, well, maybe this was another. This is the streak ended because 6 times she's been Samoan drop through the table. Vince, I'm not. There's just something that's just off to me with the Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose tandem. There's just something that's just, I mean, they both have a bunch of potential, but it just seems too contrived. It feels thrown together for me. There's no kind of hype for them. They just kind of came out one week and say, hey, we're a team, and then that's it. There's no hype for them.
Lack of storytelling.
Yeah.
What made them come together? Why did these two people come together? But bro, they do that all the time. Well, Mandy's doing nothing, Dana's doing nothing. They both got blonde hair. You know the deal.
Yeah.
But bro, let me ask you this: like, for the Lana distraction, whatever, and all that was like so lame. Did you understand like why Lana was coming down there and what she was doing? I was very confused. Why is she coming? I mean, bro, you and I both know she's coming out because they want her to be the distraction. Mm-hmm. But people at home are watching this like, why is Lana coming out? And bro, and I'm going to tell you too right now, I knew they were coming back to put her through the table. Yeah. I without a doubt knew they were coming back to do it.
When they went to the segment of Nia Jax challenging Lana afterwards, I said, oh yeah, she's going to the table again. Yeah. Why do you think that's happening? I mean, my theory is Miro, because Miro's in AEW. What do you think?
Bro, it's so funny because listen, are you a married man, Chris?
Yes, married, 3 kids. Yeah.
Okay. And
10 years.
Listen, I'm sure you are very protective of your wife.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, bro. This is what I don't get with Miro. He worked in the WWE. He knows the people who are in charge and making these calls. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, bro, he goes to AEW. He takes his shots at WWE. They put Lana through a table. Mm-hmm. Okay. But, bro, he continues every week to take shots at WWE. And I'm like, bro, do you not understand the minute Bruce Pritchard is combing the internet looking for you to say something, bro, the minute you say something about the WWE, he literally is sprinting to Vince's office. Oh, well, he's going through a table again. And I'm like, bro, do you not understand every time you say something, they're going to keep doing it? Now, I know if that were me, bro, and it were my wife, exactly, bro. If you no-sell it and don't give them the satisfaction, but, bro, every week, the guy is saying something and, okay, Lana's going through the table this week. And I'm like, bro, how could you do that to your wife?
Yeah. It's sad too, because I think she signed like a 5-year deal last year or something like that. And it's like, man, are you coming to tell me that you've got 4 more years of just being buried to the ground, man?
Bro, it's terrible. She's gonna get hurt, and then it's gonna be really sad. It's going to be, because that's what I keep asking, Chris. Like, what's the end game? No. Like, are we doing this till she gets hurt? What are we doing?
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point, because I don't see an end game. I just see taking shots at Miro. I just see a retaliation. I mean, what does this lead to? I was just, in previous episodes, I was like, at least have this lead to Lana managing them or something. Like, have some type of payoff to this. Otherwise, there's just nothing.
That's pettiness, bro. That you've got to work there to really understand the pettiness, because the pettiness is a level that you just would not comprehend.
I was going to ask you that. And you mentioned Pritchard. That's a good reference, because he he's the director of both Raw and SmackDown now. Like, why, from your experience, kind of get us in the mind of Vince when it comes to something that petty, to you,
Bro,
like from your experience.
You know the girl who was on Lucha Underground, Perez. What was her name?
Melina. Yeah, it was Melina or Carly Perez. Carly
the one
Perez.
who kissed everybody with
she was a
Katrina?
Catalina or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
They did an interview with her this past week, and bro, she worked there and I worked there, and she made it real simple. They do it because they can. That's exactly why they do it. They do it because they can, and bro, they think it's funny. Wow. And I got to tell you, Chris, when me and Ed Ferrara worked there, bro, me and Ed it would be like you working there. We were wrestling fans that were regular guys. We weren't in the wrestling bubble, this carny BS. So, bro, when we were there, this stuff didn't take place because Vince couldn't do that with us, because Ed and I would look at Vince and say, really? Like, we wouldn't stand for that. But, when he's got Pritchard in there and when I say, bro, Mero says something and Bruce is sprinting to Vince's office, bro, they do it because they can, and they do it because they think it's funny. Bro, I'll never forget, before I actually was writing the TV, do you remember when Vader got in trouble in Kuwait?
Yeah, him and Taker, the interview, right?
Yeah, but he got arrested. Remember when bro, Vader was calling Vince off the hook, scared to death. Bro, he was arrested in Kuwait, scared to death, bro. Didn't know what to do. Didn't know if he was ever going to be able to go back home. Bro, Vince and Bruce weren't taking his call, and they were laughing.
Wow.
Like, I witnessed this. And it was times like that as a regular person that I would sit there and I'm like, are you guys, bro, think about any corporation acting that way.
Right.
It's insanity, bro. But they think it's funny. The mentality would blow you away. Now,
so he came in as a monster at Royal Rumble, and then he was just utilized like trash afterwards. Did that and the Michaels influence have a lot to do with just Vader's demise in the WWE?
It had a lot to do with it, bro. It definitely had a lot to do with it. And, bro, another thing, too, like, bro, I swear to God, Leon was the nicest guy in the world. And I'm sure you heard this. Bro, he never washed his gear.
Yeah.
And, bro, I'm telling you, like, bro, there's BO, like, come on, we all know BO, but, bro, like, his gear smelled like puke, like literally, like, bro, I swear, bro, he could be walking down the hall and you would smell puke. And so bro, he didn't help the situation. They were, the ribs were always on Vader, you know what I mean? But I mean, the guy was a sweetheart of a guy, bro.
That's some really cool information to know about Leon.
Yeah. Bro, can we bring up one little thing in this segment that drives me crazy? Chris, I'm a married man like you. I've been married for 37 years.
Nice.
How long you been married?
10.
Okay. But Chris, listen, even married men, we're allowed to look at attractive women. I mean, we're not blind. We're men. We're going to look at attractive women. Bro, this is what drives me crazy. I think Charlie is beautiful. I think she is a beautiful woman. And, bro, what makes her so sexy is, the whole ESPN thing. So she's smart. She's smart. And that's sexy. But, I mean, bro, like, here's the most beautiful, sexiest girl on the show. Bro, why don't we just dress her in a burlap sack? Like, I like, bro, I don't, every time she's dressed like up to here. I'm like, can we? Who do they think is watching this show, bro? There are men watching this show. You know, the 18 to 49. I don't understand that, bro. It drives me absolutely bonkers.
That is pretty
bonkers.
funny. Yeah. Next, we get R-Truth getting decimated by Bobby Lashley. To hype him going against Sami Zayn at Survivor Series, which I don't understand. Just the concept of Survivor Series, the best of the best. You got heel versus heel. You got Orton versus Reigns. You want just a quick sidebar. The whole I love Survivor Series back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I loved just the big baby face versus heels. It usually was some type of continuation of a feud. Survivor Series back in the day was because of the Hogan Andre feud. So you had that going on back in 87, 88. And so nowadays, ever since probably like 2014, when they had Sting come, when they had the Authority, Cena and company thing. But after that, there's just no rhyme or reason to it. It's just brand versus brand, and then the champions together. It's like bragging rights. The pay-per-view only lasted for like a year or two, but now somehow, because the interest was low, and somehow that's moved over to Survivor Series now for something to be the second oldest pay-per-view in WWE history. To see how it is in 2020 from 87 is an embarrassment to me as a fan.
Chris, I'm telling you, I just kind of went off on this last week. Okay, when bro, Team Raw and Team SmackDown, the WWE, Vince, and his crew, like, they're the only ones that believe that Raw and SmackDown are really two separate brands. Like, everybody else laughs at this. Bro, you can look at the November ratings for the last 5 years. When it's Team Raw, Team SmackDown, they threw NXT in there 1 year. Bro, they're basically telling you, come November 1st through the end of the month, don't even bother watching our show. Yeah. Because it's Raw versus SmackDown.
Yeah, take a break.
Nobody cares. But that's what drives me nuts, bro, because the ratings will tell you nobody cares about this. They haven't cared in a while. Why do you keep doing this?
Yeah. And again, there's no buy-in to this.
No.
Why do I care about Lashley versus Zayn? Why do I care about that? There's no buy-in. There's no incentive. There's nothing. My dude Armand, he brings up a good point. I miss when the Survivor Series teams had names. Exactly.
Chris, here's one thing you need to understand. I don't know if you and Joe ever talked about this before. Bro, I keep in contact with some television executives. Okay. I still do, because I love that end of the business. Okay. Chris, you got to understand something. And the executives I've spoken to, I've told them flat out, this is on you guys. Bro, when Fox and USA Network gives the WWE a lucrative contract, okay, Chris, they're making the same amount of money whether 1 million people watch or 10 million. They're getting paid the same. And when I've spoken to executives at the network, I'm like, bro, what do you expect? I mean, why should they try hard when the money's the same? I can't believe when the network set up this deal, it wasn't on a sliding scale.
That's a good point.
1 million people, you get this. 2 million, you get this. 3, bro, regardless of how many people watch the show, they're getting paid the same. So there is no incentive for them whatsoever to raise the ratings. But Chris, like you and I would think, because I'm like, okay, I understand that's on the freaking network. The deal sucks. But then, Chris, you got to ask yourself a question as a man. Okay, forget that. Where's your pride, bro?
Right.
Like, do you not want to put on where is your pride? Take money out of the equation. Vince is a billionaire. The money means nothing to him.
Mm-hmm.
Where is your pride of putting on the best show you possibly can? That's what blows my mind, bro.
And I think of it from a standpoint of the renewal. So when Fox sees this is a brand new thing, the partnership between Fox and WWE. If they see those ratings dip and dip and dip and dip, that's not going to give them an incentive to want to renew anything with them. You know what I mean?
They will find another sucker.
Wow, that's a good point.
Because, bro, listen, the television industry is not watching the WWE. So the next sucker is going to come along and they're going to think The Rock and they're going to think Austin and they're going to think Stone Cold and they're going to get Sami Zayn.
And they'll bring them in for a week to kind of appease the executives. Like, see, this is what you get. And then the next week you get Sami Zayn.
And bro, they know they'll find another sucker. They know they'll work the next network. They know they will, bro. But it's like, where's your pride, man?
Wow. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. So R-Truth loses the 24/7 championship. I got a soft spot for R-Truth, man. But this 24/7 thing, man, it's about time to end.
It's crazy. It's just silly, bro. It's and again, bro, Chris, when we used to write television, we used to write it this way because we were head to head with Nitro.
Mm-hmm.
I would write it this way today. Okay, bro, the way we wrote TV is we wrote TV with the mentality, the guy sitting there with the remote control. Nitro's on the other channel, the football, bro. Give me one reason to switch the channel.
Yes.
That's how we wrote the show. Give me one reason to switch. We wrote that show like this remote. This is who's watching this, bro? Who is not turning this off to watch Monday Night Football?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about, bro.
Yeah.
Like you what? The rating's going to come in tomorrow, and you're going to be surprised. Who is watching Bobby Lashley against R-Truth?
Yeah, and you brought a good point a long time ago when we talked. You said something that stuck with me. You talked about how when you write for TV, you shouldn't play to the house because the house is going to stay there. Right. You should play to the casuals.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
And so when I watch Raw, I'm so bothered by it. I think of myself. I'm a lifer. I've been watching wrestling since about 85, 86. I'm a historian to the point of professional wrestling now. I think, but I put my mind in the mindset of a casual.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, okay, so I haven't watched wrestling in say 4 or 5 years, and someone said, hey, maybe try to watch wrestling again. So I'm just going to give it a shot. Monday Night Football, I'm not really interested in this game. I'm going to give Raw a shot, right? And so just as a consumer, you should be able to hook me within the first 5 or 10 minutes of any time I turn that television on to Raw, period. Hook me in or I'm turning the channel. And when I go to there, the whole show, if anybody watches the show from top to bottom, they are a true lifer hardcore fan because typically the third hour drops significantly in ratings. And so that also gives someone you have some type of cliffhanger from the week before. So typically the first hour is the top as far as just what happened and things like that. But at the same time, if you're a writer, you should have that same mindset. You should think as if all of this product, if anyone comes as a casual, I need to hook them within the first 5 or 10 minutes, or they're going to change the channel.
Chris, what you're talking about, first of all, if you look at, I'll say the last 10 years, and it goes back further than that. If you look at the last 10 years of the WWE, the show after WrestleMania always pops a number.
Mm-hmm.
The next week, they're right back to where they started, which means they got the audience and they had the opportunity to grab them and they didn't.
Yeah.
Bro, AEW did that 2 weeks ago. Same exact thing. NXT wasn't on. They went over 1 million people. Now, if I'm a writer, I know this going in. I know we are going to have 1 million people tonight. NXT is not on. Bro, you know what? To the wall. All out, bro. People are going to sample us for the first time. We got to hook them. Bro, what happened? I'm watching that show. It was a regular show. Same kind of show they would have put on if NXT was on. What happened the next week? Right back to where they were.
Yeah. I don't get it, man. So let's go to AJ Styles in-ring promo. So he introduces the Survivor Series team, Keith Lee and Sheamus. Braun Strowman comes out, followed by Adam Pearce. So somehow again, I don't understand this. They don't want Braun Strowman on the team. And so Braun Strowman has to win his way on the team just for at the end of the match, they all beat up each other. Now, Vince, why wouldn't you want Braun Strowman on your team?
Well, bro, like I'm watching this and I'm like, I'm always aware of the time. Okay. Because it's like, okay, bro, if this is on like, 10 o'clock, 9:30, like, bro, are kids watching this at that time? Bro, if you're going to do something silly, you got to do it at the top of the show. I'm watching this, and bro, you got to understand, I worked with AJ for a very long time. I think very, very highly of AJ, but I'm just watching this, and bro, this is so juvenile. The setup, the verbiage, the presentation, this is literally written for kids. And I mean, then Pierce comes out, and I just wrote down, I just got like, this is just awful. It's absolutely awful and horrible. Then we get into the match, bro, and he is the worst thing in the world, bro. Bro. Bro, when Keith the Dragon Lee breaks into his William Shatner.
Yeah.
Bro, it's the worst. Like it is, I think it's the worst thing I've ever seen. Bro, what is he doing? What is, I mean, was he a Star Trek mark growing up? Like, bro, it's atrocious.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't watch NXT, Chris, because I watch 7 hours of wrestling between Raw, SmackDown, and AEW. I'm not watching more than that. But when I hear how over Keith Lee was, and then I hear this guy cutting these promos, I'm like, this guy will never be over. Yeah. He will never be over. And I'm like, who is producing this guy? Who thinks this is good?
Yeah.
What do you think about those promos, bro?
Well, Vince.
And then he does the hand, like the whole, it's like Shakespeare. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that question, Vince.
Oh, bro, I can't.
Well, indubitably, Vince, I'm glad you asked me that question. Yeah, so there, I love Keith Lee from his NXT, from his indies. I've been following Keith Lee for a while, ROH, indies, Beyond Wrestling, when he was feuding with Dijak or Dijakovic or Retribution now. And so much potential. Just, I call him like, I think that they could book him like the black New Age Vader. He has the potential. He has the athleticism, but his gear's off. His music's terrible. They just abuse him. They give him a mic, and it just doesn't work. And it's just the build for Keith Lee was so lackluster coming from NXT. There was no buy-in. He had a blip with Randy Orton just to be a filler between him and McIntyre. They have done such a terrible, terrible job with booking Keith Lee. He has the potential to be some type of gargantuan monster, And now he just, with all this 50-50 stuff and being, he just seems like a regular guy. You know what I mean? And someone's physically, he doesn't have that look. You know what I mean? But if someone's pushed enough and with the athleticism of Keith Lee, your charisma can outdo your physicality. We see that with Dusty Rhodes, right? One of the most out of shape people in pro wrestling history, but his character would never make you look at his physique because he was so over as a character. You never looked at his physique. And people have that advantage when they have the charisma that supersedes your physical appearance. Same thing with the Kevin Owens, right? Same thing with the Fiend. But Keith Lee, they're not making me suspend my concentration on his physique because they're not doing a good job with his charisma. So I have no choice but to say he's just out of place. That's just kind of how you feel.
Bro, it's always, I say this, it's always, to me, it's always the bar test. It's always the bar test. Bro, you go to a bar, okay, and somebody wants to challenge the big wrestler, and some drunk gets in your face, and there's going to be a fight. There's going to be a real fight now, bro. Is Keith Lee going to talk to the guy?
Right.
Now, I believe Dusty would talk that crap to a guy.
Well, baby, you don't want to mess with me.
Exactly. Yeah, but is Keith Lee, I mean, bro, while he's mid-sentence, the guy's going to clock him. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. But, bro, if I'm producing Keith Lee and he cuts that kind of a promo and he comes to the back, I'm saying to him with all sincerity, like, bro, what are you doing? Like what is that? Like, that's never going to get over. Never.
I agree. Yep.
And then, bro, I got to tell you something too, Chris. Bro, when he did that gimmick to the outside, bro, he missed hitting the back of his neck on that apron he would have died. He missed by inches hitting the back of his head on that apron, bro.
He shouldn't do stuff like that. I mean, I don't think he should be booked like a cruiserweight. I don't understand. And still, to this day, I don't get all there's room for the cruiserweight feel, the high flyer feel, but everybody doesn't have to be a cruiserweight.
Yep.
He's a big 330 pound, 6'2", 6'3" guy. Why is it necessary for him to do some type of flip plancha outside the ring? Just go outside the ring and just toss and just brawl him. You know what I mean?
I mean, think about the logic of this too. This is what drives me crazy too, with all the flippity. This is what drives me nuts. You said yourself, bro, you go back to the early 80s, you're a historian. Bro, what has always been what ends a wrestling match? You pin your opponent in the ring on his shoulders, 1, 2, 3. Keyword being in the ring. So if you could only win the match by pinfall inside of the ring, why are you diving on people outside of the ring?
Yes.
The logic has just totally been tossed away. So now Keith Lee is going to dive to the outside. He's going to lay out the opponents, maybe knock himself out. But so in the meantime, then he, within 20 seconds, he's got to shake it off. Then he's got to pick up their 300 pound carcasses, somehow slide them into the ring, get in the ring. There's no logic to diving on anybody on the outside. No logic in wrestling.
And I think, here's the thing with doing stuff too much. If you do that dive spot, don't make it all the time. So when you do it, it has more of an attraction feel, i.e. the Undertaker. So Undertaker, 6'9", 6'10", 315 pounds, 320 pounds. When he does the dive outside the ring, he doesn't do it all the time. So
Right.
when he does it in the big matches, it's more of like a type of
Yep.
feel, as opposed to doing it every single match. When you do it at the big match, it's just like it's just another. It's just that's why I don't like when people are doing all the Canadian destroyers now, and it's just all the super kicks and all that.
And what happens, Chris? They got to keep raising the bar.
Yes,
because we've seen it, bro. The more you raise the bar, the more injuries are going to happen.
Yes,
the more you're shortening your careers,
yes,
and the less money you're going to make. All of it makes absolutely no sense.
So first you start in the ring. You got to do it in the ring, and then you got to do it from the second rope, and then you got to do it from the top rope. Then you got to do it from the top of the cage for it to be normal.
Yep.
And then you got to go all the way to the rafters to do it as normal now. Just you're continuing to raise the bar the wrong way, which will just increase the chance of being injured.
Remember the pop Taker used to get just by walking the ropes?
Just by doing old school. Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
You know what, bro? When you try to tell them this stuff for their own good, oh, you're irrelevant. It's evolved. Okay, bro, I'm irrelevant. It's involved. Go out there and break your neck. Go ahead.
But exactly. I mean, the injury count is just through the roof now.
Yep.
Because of all of those spots, and it makes no sense.
Yep.
Let's go down to the Garza. What do you think of Garza? Do you think there's potential in him?
I do. I do think there's potential in him. Yeah, I do. Yep.
Where would you put him as a
rider? I would have had, when they had that whole thing going on with Garza and Andrade and Selena Vega and all that, bro. I would have made it like a telenovela. That's how I would have made it. I would have made their segments like telenovela, bro. First of all, they would have got the entire, Mexican lucha audience, because they would have got it immediately. Second of all, for Americans watching this show, it would have stood out because it would have been different and it would have been creative. They could have had their own little soap opera within the body of the show. Mm-hmm. But again, bro, when you look at the entire situation with Andrade and Garza and Zelina Vega, now they're all broken apart. Like, who got over?
Nobody.
Who got over?
Nobody. Yeah. So let's go down to the Firefly Funhouse. Looks like they're doing something with Bray, and he's bringing back the feud that he had with Orton. He's bringing back the House of Horrors match. So it looks like, again, it's just within just moving parts within the WWE Championship title picture right now. So here's everybody's favorite spot. Nia Jax just totally decimates Lana.
Well, bro, I do want to say this though about Funhouse. Here's what I love, Bray. Mm-hmm. I think he is a genius. He is an absolute genius. Bro, the fact that they failed that character, Bray Wyatt, everybody should have been fired. Mm-hmm. If you fail a character like that with that type of talent, you need to go. Mm-hmm. You need to go. Here's what pains me. I'm seeing the same thing happening with The Fiend now. Because here's what I'm noticing, bro. These fun houses now, they're being forced. They don't know what to do. And like, look at the way this one ended. Like, what was that? Syrup? Like, what? They don't know what to do. So it's like, okay, bro, we need a Firefly Funhouse segment, but they're getting less and less and being watered down more and more. I see them doing the same thing to him.
Yes,
that they did to Bray Wyatt, bro. I noticed this a couple of weeks ago, bro. The Fiend is wrestling, and they were saying it's Bray Wyatt. And I'm like, whatever. Go on.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah. It's just there. I want the art of mystery again when it comes to pro wrestling. If you're giving me the same thing over and over, there's no mystery to it.
Bro, you know what I would have done? But see, here's the problem, bro. When I pitch this stuff, I know they're not capable of doing it. I know they don't know how to do it. Bro, if it were me, I would have had, the Bray in the Funhouse character and the Fiend. And I would have had like Bray oblivious to the Fiend. Like I would see, Bray backstage and, you'd see, the Fiend backstage, but Bray never says, never, but everybody is like, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? And then, bro, you do this, and then you build where out of nowhere, he's not the Fiend. Stuff like that, bro. Stuff like that, you've got to take 6 months.
Yes.
Tell this story on a weekly basis. But like I said, bro, a couple of weeks ago when they were calling the Fiend Bray Wyatt, I'm like, this is over. Yeah. Because now what, bro? He's Bray Wyatt and he's putting on a Halloween mask.
Right.
It's over. Like you've just killed it. It's over.
Yeah. Agreed. Hurt Business does an in-ring promo. They get interrupted by the New Day, and so the Hurt Business defeats the New Day. Again, I just don't like champions losing. I don't think you should beat the champ to become the number one contender. I think they should kind of go through the tag team division, and the champs, the New Day, should be looked up as the champs, and they shouldn't have just some non-title match. I'm okay with the New Day. I'm okay with the Hurt Business being over. I like them as a tandem. But just saying, to me, if you're just beating the New Day on some random Raw, to me it dilutes the potency of the championship. When I think of the champion, I think of someone who you have to work your way up to get to. You wouldn't have a Hogan or a Goldberg just lose on a random Raw or Nitro.
Chris, there's a whole other level here. And again, I see these levels because I know them. And I'm going to tell you again, bro, if I'm writing the show, one of the biggest problems with Raw is there is no sense of reality.
Correct.
Okay, so if I'm writing Raw, the Hurt Business is coming together the same time Black Lives Matter is coming together. And that's what it's about. And that's what they're talking about. And they're trying to get, more and more blacks to join the cause. And bro, I'll tell you right now, I would have done it in a positive way because that would have been great PR for the WWE. The black athletes are getting together and they're uniting and they're trying to put positivity out there. Bro, do you notice what they're doing? Every single week, they've got the black people beating up the black people. Bro, they did it to Titus. They did it 2 weeks ago with Titus. Bro, if you remember last week, they bullied the guy in catering, and it just happened to be a black guy.
Oh, yeah, Ryan Ward.
Whoever it was, I don't know who it was, but I'm like, okay, bro. So, like, there are no white people back there. It's while Black Lives Matter is happening, they're doing black on black. Bro, you cannot tell me they're not doing that on purpose. I mean, when you look at Titus and you look at the guy last week, and now they're in there against New Day, bro, outside of your arena, black people are uniting all over the world. You're pitting them against each other. Bro, I know them and I know the system, and they are purposely doing that when this could have such a strong message and such a positive message. Yeah. But what is it? Is it black guys beating up other black guys because you're taking a shot at black? It's just way too obvious for me, bro. It's way too obvious for me.
Wow.
And on top of that, bro, let's go back earlier in the show. Who did Bobby Lashley kill?
R-Truth.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean, come on, bro. I like I said, bro, because I work there, I always know that there is a hidden meaning behind it. And you're not looking for that. Nobody's looking for that. But when you look week after week after week after week, and it's black on black violence, it's like, bro, come on, man.
Yeah, because I didn't like the fact that Hurt Business was feuding against Cedric and
Right, exactly.
Ricochet
Right.
and Apollo Crews, and then Cedric turns, and then
It's blacks pitted against blacks for the last since Black Lives Matter started.
Yeah.
Bro, what is it? Coincidental?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, interesting observation there. So backstage, Nikki Cross, and then we get to Alexa Bliss turn around with Evil Eyes. Ricochet defeating Tucker. What in the world? Okay, again, let's get into the mind of a creative writer, Vince. Tucker turns on Otis. Somehow this was supposed to be some type of payoff to this. What's going to happen with Tucker now? There were even reports that Tucker got drafted to Raw, then he gets back to SmackDown to continue with Otis. And then we just see him as some type of job guy, cuts the beard, trims the hair, some generic looking guy with Night on the back of his trunks. Vince, help us out here.
I'll help you out real easy, bro. He's in the doghouse. He did something or said something that somebody did not like.
He was recently on an interview and saying he did say in a recent interview, I think it was on like Devon's podcast or something. He said that he found out like the day of or something like that they were going to the draft. So that he did kind of spill the beans there, and he talked about how he still wanted Heavy Machinery to be WWE Tag Team Champs. So he did kind of break the fourth wall a little bit.
That's all it takes.
Wow.
That's all, bro. That's how they work. They will teach you. I'm telling you, bro, it is so petty. You know, bro, these are the things I hate about the wrestling business. This is why, bro, I could never go back into that world. Because it's like, you know, I've been back out here in the real world for the last 8 years. And if I went back in there and started seeing this stuff again, I'd be out of there in less than a week because of stuff like this.
Yeah. Wow. Retribution comes out. They mug Ricochet. They beat up Tucker. And then they beat up Ricochet again. So, yeah, that's a way to use Ricochet there. Someone with a ton of potential, but unfortunate. So we end up with the last segment of Drew McIntyre beating Miz and Morrison. Orton comes and RKO's Drew, and then the show goes off with the Fiend laughing. So you have Drew. I like Drew. I think they should push Drew, but Drew's one of my favorites in WWE. But you have Miz and Morrison. Somehow they're the Money in the Bank winners, but they lose a handicap match as a Money in the Bank holder. And then once again, we have the physicality yet another week with Orton RKOing Drew, continuing to get me out of the interest with this. And then you have the Fiend involved. Lots of mess going on there.
There's two major things here from a writing and storytelling point of view. I mean, Chris, I wish one single person can tell me, one single person working there. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Hunter. I don't care if it's Mick Foley's kid. Please give me one reason, just one reason, why every show doesn't end with a cliffhanger. Explain that to me. Give me an excuse. Can you not come up with a cliffhanger every single week to have people looking forward to and anticipating next week's show? Every show ends with a period at the end of a sentence. Please tell me why. On top of that, bro, Chris, when we wrote the television, every week the story would progress, and this would happen next week, and then that would happen, and that it would progress. Bro, this was the exact finish of last week's show. You did the exact thing that you did last week. Nothing is moving. Everybody is running in place. We're seeing the same people fighting week after week after week. None of it matters. Nobody cares. And like I said, Chris, they're getting the same paycheck from USA Network, whether 3 people watch that show tonight or whether 3 million people watched it. Wow. I get hot. Listen, Chris, I never criticize like, bad storylines. That was horrible. That sucked, this and that, because that's all subjective. Like people tell me all the time, well, Vince, you always put over your good stuff, but you never take blame for the bad stuff. Well, bro, if I thought it was bad, I wouldn't have put it on TV. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, bro, that was bad because you thought it was bad. Okay, bro, because if I thought it was bad, I wouldn't have put it on TV. That means that I liked it. So, bro, creative is very subjective. That's why I don't get on them creatively. But here's where I do get on them. There's no reason for lack of effort, bro. There is no reason for lack of effort and not trying. I can't believe, bro, when this show is over, that from Vince McMahon to Bruce to Triple H to whoever else is involved in the process, I can't believe that one of those people can look themselves in the mirror and say, we just put on the best show we possibly can. Whether 500 people watch it tomorrow or 500 million, it doesn't matter. We put on the best show that we can. That's where I get hot. Amen. Because I know what it takes to put on a successful show. And it looks like most of the time, they're not even trying. So think about this, Chris. If they're not trying, we're supposed to watch the show?
I really couldn't agree more, man. Like I shared this show. Look, if I'm a casual, I wouldn't buy in. There's dozens of other things I could do, Vince. It's a Monday night. It's 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. There's dozens of other things I could do. Are you expecting me with the product that you're right now? Are you expecting me as a casual to watch this for more than 5 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically where my mind is. It's like, I could go to sleep. I could go eat something. I can go watch something else. I can go spend time with my wife. There's so many other things that I could do. If you're not causing me to say, I want to put all those other things aside and stay glued to the television, you're not doing your job correctly. Why am I hiring you? Why am I spending money on you as a creative writer if that's not the mindset to keep you glued on the television? That's why I agree with you with the cliffhangers.
Yeah, bro, Vince McMahon himself taught me something once. He said this to me once, bro, and I'll never forget it because it breaks it down to as simple as it could be. Vince said to me, bro, this is, the Monday Night Raw, Nitro, Monday Night Football. Bro, I think one of the shows we were up against too, bro, I believe we were up against like Everybody Loves Raymond, which is still a hot show in syndication 20 years later. Yeah. So, bro, there was all this competition, and I'll never forget, Vince looked at me and he said, Vince, if it's good, they'll watch it. Period. End of story. I don't want to hear anything. If it's good, they'll watch it. Well, Vince, they're not watching it because it's not good.
True.
It's that you said it yourself. It's not good.
Yeah, agreed. Well, that's Raw. This is the first episode of the brand new and upgraded Legion of Raw. Vince, man, this is going to be a fun ride, man. I enjoyed myself. I hope you did the same.
Oh yeah, no, Chris, it was great, and I really am, bro. I was flattered when I got that email, and you guys thought of me. It meant a lot to me, bro, and I'm looking forward on doing this with you on a weekly basis.
Awesome, man. Go plug your stuff, man. What you got in store?
Yeah, guys. I mean, I do so much, bro. But we have 2 podcasting platforms, and we have many, many, many familiar faces that I do shows with. From, Shane Douglas, the Disco Inferno, Stevie Ray from Harlem Heat, Stevie Richards, Ben Hameen, Goldilocks, who was the first interviewer ever in the WWE. We just got so many shows. If you go to russosbrand.com, we've got different shows on Patreon, patreon.com/RussoTWC. I'm on Twitch like all the time. Guys, go to twitch.tv/Vince Russo Live. I'm always doing something, bro.
Nice. Good stuff, man. Well, this is another successful episode of Legion of Raw, man. It's been a great time. This is Vince Russo. I'm Dr. Chris Featherstone. We are signing off, and always remember, oh, what a rush. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.